Welcome to Becky's House of Sewing. I'm Becky, and there's a bunch of you that are new here. So wanted to start off by saying that I'm Becky. This is my podcast about all things thread and needle, mostly cross stitch and quilting. But you got to keep it open because you never know what cool hobby will come around. Or what tools I'll need to buy, or everyone's getting into knitting and crocheting again, so you just can never tell. One thing's for sure, there'll be thread, there'll be a needle in whatever I'm interested in. Yeah, that's kind of my jam. So hello to a lot of new people. I had a very fun thing happen since I have been on Instagram under the same handle as this channel's name. I've had a lot more interactions with other Flosstubers and cross stitchers, which has been tons of fun. And I got into a conversation with one of my favorite YouTubers, the Curious Crafters, who is doing the same pattern as I am. So we've been sewing along together. And she commented on my stitch, and I commented back, and then she commented, and then she posted something on her YouTube. So I just can't say thank you enough. You two ladies, I think you're awesome, and I have another good friend that moved to San Francisco, so maybe one day I can get out there and stitch with you guys and go to a needle in a haystack. How delightful would that be? So since they ran my name across the screen, and I had my aunt texting me, and I called my mom, I'm like, they said my name. Yeah, I might have fangirled a little. Just a little. I've had more people follow me on Instagram, and thankfully follow me and subscribe to my channel. So thank you ladies for the little bump, and welcome to all the newbies. I should kind of start with a little bit of background since some of you haven't seen my shows before. Do you call them shows? Regardless, we're going with it. I'm a 49-year-old woman living in Waxhaw, North Carolina, and have been I was born in Florida, so Florida and North Carolina have been my two homes since we have had a second house in Boone through my grandmother, again, for the majority of my life, and have always vacationed in Boone and stayed in Boone, and it was just our home. And my parents have lived up here exclusively in Boone for a good long while, since early 2000s kind of time frame. I lived in DC for a little bit, and then we moved, after I got married, I moved back closer to North Carolina, closer to my parents, because they were taking care of my grandmother, and it was getting close to the end of that, and I wanted to be nearby. And plus, being a Florida girl, it wasn't a coincidence that we moved the spring after the 3 feet of snow that shut down the government. I'm like, okay, I've had enough. I'm out of here. Not that it doesn't snow and ice here, but it's, again, a little warmer for this Florida girl. I don't know that I don't really miss Florida, I will be honest. Of course, I have friends and family there that I do love and miss, but I'm quite happy with where I'm at. Love Waxhaw, love it being close to Charlotte, there's a lot that I love. So I've been raised by a lot of crafty women, always surrounded by cross-stitch and quilting since I can remember. Mom says she got into stitching in the 80s or late 70s, and same time as quilting kind of got their bicentennial boost as well. So again, have been surrounded by that all my life. Macrame, making kids crafts, cutting 2-liter bottles into windmills, all the things all the time. So just have always been surrounded by it. When the pandemic hit, as a retail girl, I work at the Container Store here in Charlotte. I was slightly bitter that everyone got to stay home and do craft projects. And I had to take some vacation time, and Mom asked what I wanted to do because we all had to be isolated. I said, why don't we stitch together in Zoom? Because it's kind of all I wanted to do. I had cross-stitched on and off, nothing like hardcore like it is now, I would say. And I had bought a project when I was in Memphis, Tennessee, and wanted to make that my quote-unquote pandemic stitch. And every Wednesday when I was growing up, my mom and my grandmother and their age groups of friends and family would get together every Wednesday and have lunch at each other's homes, and from like 10 to 2, and stitch and solve world problems and have, basically a stitching group. And they were the Wednesday Stitchers. And I said, why don't we do Wednesday stitching again? And again, I just proposed it with my mom and my aunt, and I was going to surprise her with a Wednesday Stitcher that I was going to sneak on, Maureen Vines. Hi, Mo. So we had such a great time on Zoom when we did that. The mom said, well, let's do this again, and let's invite this person and this person and this person. So I'm like, that's perfect. So since then, since 2020, we have been Zooming on every Wednesday. I am a member of the Quilters Guild here in Charlotte, both the modern and the regular quilt guild. Although I can't really attend the modern guild because they meet on days that I'm working at, but I still want them to have my money. I need to support the good cause. And then I have, through work and other various things, have met another cross-stitching group that meets in York County in South Carolina, which is very nearby me. So I have suddenly, in the last couple of years, really developed a strong sense of community around stitching, and have bought my first, to me, brand new to me machine. I have my mother's hand-me-downs, and I have mentioned this in the Tar Heel State Stitchers group on Facebook, that I'm into all the crafts so that I can inherit all my mother's stash, which I think is fair. But yes, sometimes it feels like I'm in it to do the shopping, but I really do love the craft, and I find that cross-stitching specifically takes up a lot of my brain power currently. Not that I don't love quilting, which we can talk about, but it just, cross-stitch seems a little easier and methodical. It's quieter. I can do it out in the living room. I don't have to be in a separate room. I usually don't have to clean anything up to actually do anything as well. I hope some of you that is resonating with some people. So that's a little bit of my story. I've been doing Flosstube now for about 1.5 years. One thing for the newbies, you will hear me refer to Ron and Connie. They are my neighbors. Ron is, I would say, a super fan. I think that's fair to say, right, Ron? Ron and Connie have a drinking game. Every time I say their names, they have a drink. So it has become an inside joke, so now you're in. Feel free to play along. It does not need to be alcoholic, although Becky After Dark, which technically this is Becky After Dark. This is Sunday night, what is that, the 15th, and it's like 9 o'clock at night. I don't have an alcoholic drink because it is sadly doesn't agree with me anymore. It's one of the sadder things in life. But yeah, I just turn red and I start to sneeze in 20 minutes, and that's not really good for a podcast. But anyway, last week I said if I got over 100 subscribers that I would give away a project bag. And I have been so tickled pink with the Curious Crafters. I am going to give away 2 bags. That's right, I am. So we'll talk about that closer to the end, so stay tuned if you're interested, and I hope you win. And, you know, there's not a large pool, so your chances are pretty good. So let's get into stitching and what I've been up to. Again, today I've been working on this a little bit. I did do a little cross stitch as well, but this is my halo quilt. My halo quilt. I took a class at the end of September at the Quilt Patch in Stallings, North Carolina. And this pattern is by Jen Kingwell, who is a pretty renowned quilter from Australia. And let me just tell you, those people down under, they can stitch, they can cross stitch, they can make quilts, they can English paper piece. I don't know what it is about being on an island, but it's pretty awesome. Anyway, I have been enamored with this quilt, and it is definitely a skill level I wanted to kind of get better at. And curve piecing is, you have to think about it as you're still stitching a straight line. It's just in a curve. And you're manipulating the fabric more so. But as you can tell, it's scrappy, and I love scrappy. I'm so enamored with piecing. But you really can get in the weeds. In this particular one, as you can see, I've tried to fussy cut some things. And Ron, do you remember what fussy cutting is? It's just where you stage where you're cutting the fabric so that a particular part of the pattern of the fabric shows that you want it to display. Kind of like the pigs, the scissors. I have a bird over there. There's a fox over there. Sorry, I have it kind of lit, so I don't mean to do shadow puppet. Oh, people, we're digressing. So I wanted to show you more of my design wall. This quilt is very laborious. It is very fun. I will tell you that it has, well, each piece you are hand cutting out, so it's not like you can mass cut this out. And so you have the inside pie, the circle, the kind of T shape, the triangles around the square, and then the square. So picking everything out and fussy cutting and all that kind of stuff has been fun, but it is a lot of work. And then actually piecing it together is just, you have to go slow. I have to go slow and make sure that I'm hitting those what do we call them? Seam allowances. Making sure those are straight, and a scant 1/4 inch helps around those corners and stuff like that. Let me grab this thing. I've also been using a color wheel that I bought on Amazon. This is a big version. I have a smaller version as well. And so this is a 9-inch one, and I will tell you that I prefer the 5-inch one. Just because it's easier to manipulate. But this helps me kind of make sure that, I use this side a lot more. This helps me know, like if I'm doing let's see here. Let's get to the right thing. Boy, doing that backwards is not easy. Let's do a green here. Ooh, fascinating part of the podcast, right? All right, so if I have a green, if green is my key color, not only does it show you kind of the graduating colors of that family, which can be helpful, but it will show me the direct complementary colors. Well, straight across is complementary. And then there's all these different names, which if you got into color theory and took classes in it, you would learn all this stuff, which I don't know that I'm necessarily interested in. I mean, color fascinates me, and it certainly helps me with my craft, and even with cross stitching where you want to like change a color out, knowing what doesn't strike you about that and what family it is in, and you know, kind of having fundamental understanding of it certainly will help. But that kind of helps know and balance out if I have too many reds in one area, or if I'm trying to do opposite colors, dark and lights, medium shade tones, that kind of stuff. It's kind of helped me when I feel like I'm overthinking it a little bit. I can just kind of go to my color wheel and go, okay, what's going to work with this center? What kind of color should I try and pull out of it? And then what should be the opposites, that kind of stuff. So that's been fun. I have lots of cutouts. I've created small little boards. If anybody follows Lori Holt, her portable little boards, this actually is like the adhesive firm interfacing, that because I ran out of foam boards. So I've cut out several of different colors or fabrics I know I want to use and kind of placed them out. And then from the class, the teacher taught us to just go buy a vinyl tablecloth and cut it up into like 15-inch squares, and then you can use that, and this makes it easy and a little more portable if you were going to like a sit and sew or something like that. But I have about 8 of those, 8 to 10 of those, so I can kind of lay some blocks out and chain piece as much as I can, meaning that you're sewing one thing and then you're running a couple stitches and then you're sewing the next thing and running a couple stitches, and it kind of saves thread and keeps the motion kind of going a little bit. It still takes a while. Glue basting those circles does take time, but is a lifesaver. It certainly helps manipulate where you can just focus on the stitching and not are the fabrics lining up, so it's been helpful. So I've done that for a couple hours today and got 2 whole blocks done, and I have the centers. I have 2 whole centers done. These are the faster parts. You know, glue basting and then doing the circles has been really the the longer part of it. But my true love throughout the week has been a peacock, a unicorn, a badger. Just like the Curious Crafters. So here is the cover sheet. And I am doing one sheet at a time best I can. I will say that I am not doing one, I'm not pausing to do all the background before I move on to another sheet, but I am, I've got a page finish. I'm through page 3, I've started page 4, and there's 5 pages all the way across. I think I've said there were 6. I was so wrong, so wrong. So where this cute little sun is on page 5. So I'm about to do the squirrel. I believe Anna's got the tail done, and she's going down. So it's going to be fun to kind of meet up to where she is. But so that's the top of where I'm at. And let me show you my where the actual stitching is. So today during morning floss tubes, Sunday morning floss tubes, I was doing some of the green. So I've done everything from the peacock to that bird and the snail around the peacock neck. I've done all that green. And then I've stitched all the way at the top. This is the end of page 4. And then I did some of the clouds. And I started in on that flower. Man, is this addicting. It's that one more thread mentality where I'm like, if I just do this one more part, this is one little part over here, and an hour and a half later, it's 11:30, and I need to get up to go to work tomorrow, so I should go to bed. The Curious Crafters have started counting their threads, and I think about counting my threads after I'm done for the day, so it's not really helpful. But I will say this has been the last week's worth of threads. I have a little thread bed that I've made with a little needle minder, and I put it on my stand for my iPad because I use Project Keeper. I do not use that. I'm an Apple girl. Project Keeper is not on Apple products. I use GoodNotes because Nicole of Nicole Needleworks introduced me to it, and now I'm addicted. Mostly because I really love expanding, pinching open, and being able just to kind of do hash marks and easily erase it and not hold a paper and all that kind of stuff. Again, because I have my iPad stand right by my stitchy spot because I Zoom every week with my stitching group, so it makes it just easy to be right there. And this project is great for Wednesday stitching because I'm obviously using my iPad to Zoom. I have an old iPad or my phone for the pattern, but because this has so much background, I've been trying to save the background or a fill-in part for Wednesday stitching. But one thing I mentioned to Anna, which she so sweetly said on her video, was that it's like coloring, because for example, this flower here that I'm working on, you do the outline and then you fill it in. You do the outline and then you fill it in, and it's not fiddly. There are a lot of colors, and I will tell you, I've made some color mistakes where I filled in the wrong color in the wrong area, but you don't know. You don't know where that is, and I'm not going to tell you. It's an artistic choice. But yeah, it's just it's blocks of color. It's not a lot of confetti, which is just, it's very pleasant. So you really get a good feel. And I am using a 40 count vintage country mocha by Zweigart, and it's a printed fabric. It's the vintage part is only on one side, the other side is just plain. I have enjoyed stitching on this. I am using the DMC flosses as well. I think silks are wonderful. I have not gotten on the bandwagon yet. The only silk project I have is Mrs. Campbell, and I'm doing her on 46 count, and I'm using the 103s, and it's been a struggle. So it has not been something that calls to me. I still have her. I want to do her. I will finish her. But this just is comfort stitching, and I'm so glad this is a big project so that I can just stitch on it forever. I will be sad when I get it done, but thankfully I'm nowhere close to that. The other thing I've stitched on just a little bit is this little Quaker. Get up close to it. And this is called Square Quaker, designed by Marjorie Massey. It's all DMCs. I believe I am using 40 count platinum. I think 40 count is my favorite count, mostly because I really like the coverage on a single strand of DMC floss. I like how the stitches lay a little bit better when I use one. Again, it's less brain power to use one strand than two strands. They all have their place. You stitch what you like. I have for most of my stitching life, I have preferred linen. I just prefer the way that it looks. It makes me feel more of like art than it does a canvas, if that makes sense. And I really like the irregularity of the linen. I like where it gets a little slubby in parts where it makes your stitches look uneven. Again, I'm a quilter, so I would love to be perfection. But to be honest, perfection, you could buy perfection. A machine can make perfection. That doesn't mean that you don't see your blood, sweat, and tears in perfection. You see it where your corner got cut off in your square in a square, or you see where your seam is a little wobbly, or where you use the wrong color in a chart instead of the called for color, when you meant to use the called for color. So to me, the joy is in the irregularities or the mistakes that I make, and the mental health part of that certainly helps me through remembering that I'm not perfect, no matter how much I would like to be. So, a couple things I wanted to share. That's all my... Oh, I didn't show you. Hello, would you like to see what I've done on the Square Quaker? So this Square Quaker, easy for you to say, Square Quaker. I have only gotten like 1.5 threads in there, but it's still really pretty. This is like browns and blues, so I'm excited to see it kind of continue on. At work, we started a walking challenge. So I really should be walking instead of stitching at lunch, so that I can kill zombies. If you know, you know. Work has started, actually the second time we've done it. There's this app, a fitness app that partners with employers, and you can buy tickets yourself, but why would you want to when the company can do it for you? But you break up into teams, you create an avatar, and you play a game through an app, and it calculates your steps and your exercise time that you log in, and you get to kill zombies. And so this one is Halloween themed, and it's fun, and it's a good time. And you get to harass your teammates when they don't participate. But this is what I carry it in. I made this bag, vinyl front bag. It's a really tiny one, and it's really a smidge too small for my liking. But it fits nicely in my work bag, and I already carry a lot, as I previously have discussed. Just trying to keep my things together. My peacock, unicorn, and badger live in this bag. Ooh. The pattern. How embarrassing. You can see my DMC threads are on thread drops, my preferred way. Also makes stitching so fun. For the non-background parts, I am using a hoop. And my current favorite needles are Bowen 28s. I've tried Peacemakers, but they're too hard. What I like about the Bowen needles is they have a little give to them. I have one here. and you probably aren't going to see, but it can bend a little bit, and I think that flexibility helps, especially when I'm sewing in hand, helps me find the spaces. I want to say hole. Now I'm just being a dirty girl. But it's easier for me to sew and manipulate, which I can appreciate. A couple things I wanted to share that I've been very into, especially doing this quilt. Well, first of all, these scissors. Let me grab this little cover for them. Most quilters will be familiar with Kay Buckley. She created a line of scissors, and they, well, I have more. Hold please. Ow. She has a wide variety of sizes of scissors, and what's amazing about these scissors is that they have a serrated edge, and in quilting cotton, the serrated edge, especially when you're doing something as intricate as applique, the serrated edge really helps from the fabric fraying as you're manipulating it with the needle and thread in your fingers and that sort of thing. So these are great scissors. I highly recommend. But in July, I bought these little bad boys. And these are just a few inches tall. These are serrated. And I really like smaller scissors for stitching, cross stitching. And I think these might be my favorite scissors I have ever bought. Finger holes are big and soft. When you get to seeing a lot of reviews about scissors, everybody, especially in cross stitch, you want your points of your scissors to be very tapered and very sharp all the way down to the tip, because you want to snip your threads very close to the fabric without cutting anything else. These are so sharp. I have since been to Sewindipitous, which is a great quilt shop in Rock Hill, South Carolina. If you haven't been, you should go. It's a fabulous store with fabulous people. They have a nice big classroom, so they really can be as full service as you need them to be. They had these here, but they also have a teal handled version that I believe is just a sharp scissor. It's not the serrated edge, which would also be just fine for cross stitch. Although helping the threads not fray at the end when you're snipping them also is not a bad thing. So either way, I would recommend these Kay Buckley scissors, and they're probably the 4-inch ones. I have enough rulers to measure, but I don't want to right now. I've been meaning to tell you about these for the last couple weeks, and I just want to tell you I love them. What I've been using in my bags, because I keep this by my sewing machine, is my Bowen stork scissors, and I adore them greatly. The other thing I've been using, because this has a lot of pinning to do, and it's gotten me, I'm saying a lot, I really apologize. I was about to say it again. These pins, look at, first of all, isn't this a cute little chicken? I got this when I was ordering from Missouri Star Quilt Company. It's a little add-on, because you know, sometimes you just need that one more little thing. But these pins are magic pins by Taylor Seville. They have been much talked about on many places that I follow and listen to. They have lots of different sizes. I have this style pin too that's a little bit longer with a flat head. these you can iron on without any damage, and the flatheads are very nice for that type of application. But I will tell you, I've bought several different quote-unquote colors, because I have this here too, the blue ones. Ooh, I like magnets. These are my little thread bunnies that I use to start and stop my threads on my sewing machine. But this blue head pin is a little bit longer, but the shaft is a little thicker. I think these are 0.6, but these orange guys are developed for silk. I use them for cottons. They are 0.4s, and let me just tell you the difference between this and this 0.6 and these are 0.7s. I have not liked pinning before. So where my mother always says get the big ones, I say get the extra fine pins. Always get extra fine pins. It makes it, when I use the other sizes, I find that my fabric moves as I'm pinning it, which kind of defeats the purpose of not, it makes it harder for me to line them up when I'm pinning them, because as I'm pushing the pin through the fabric, it is getting distorted and moving, where that does not happen on these super fine pins. See, put it on my black shirt. So by the 0.4s, they do have them on Amazon. Expensive is relative. I can tell you that the orange pins right now are on sale on Amazon. I think you get 50 for $13 and change. I'm buying more of them. So I would recommend that. As I was looking through their selection of Taylor Seville, they have a quilting cotton that is 0.42. I believe the head is more of a aqua, or a sea green color than this teal blue or turquoise blue. But I have really, there's something about the orange ones are designed, like I said, for silk. So I don't know if they're coated differently as well. They might be, but they do have a quilting cotton that's a 0.4 as well. Highly recommend. Nearly life-changing. So in the next week or so, let's talk about plans first. So in the next week or so, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. I really am enjoying the halo quilt, even though it's a lot of work as far as time goes. It is so satisfying when things line up. And it is very fun when you look on my design boards and I'm like, I don't know if these are going to work well. And then I put them together and they're so cute. That's the thing about a scrap quilt. It's very much like a Monet painting. You really have to be further away from it to really appreciate it. When you get up close, it just is a bunch of dots. So I just need to concentrate on having fun. Do I like these fabrics? And not focus so much on, will this block look good together, because a scrap quilt is a beauty in its entirety, not just in the individual fabrics. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Now, let's get to the fun part, shall we? I am going to give away one of each of my style bags. Now again, I am going to be selling these bags. I have decided that if you are a subscriber and you watch my show, I will, and you reach out to me, either DM me on Instagram or leave me a comment, I'll leave my email, and you can please feel free to email me. I will sell these to you for $40, including shipping. Vinyl or fabric. Right now I've done only blue right now, and it's again a little scrappy. I have yellow on the inside. I really like a lighter color on the inside of my bags. And so here's the deal. This is my first giveaway, and all I know is that giveaways open you up to scammers and robots, and can be a royal pain when it comes to somebody hacking into your channel. So, in order to avoid that, of course you need to be 18 or over. If you are younger than 18 and watching me, please have your parent enter to win. Please don't say anything like giveaway or free or anything like that, so that it doesn't show up to any bots that are out there or bad guys. And we're going to use a keyword in the comments, and next time I post a video, I will choose a winner, and I'm going to give one person a fabric bag and one person a vinyl bag. So, in the comments, use the word vinyl if you want a vinyl bag, and then use the word fabric for a fabric bag. And vinyl, I never spell correctly the first time, so it's V-I-N-Y-L. Fabric is F-A-B-R-I-C. And if you want to enter to win one of each, or either one would be fine, use fabric and vinyl in your comment, and I will do a search by those two words. I will do one search for vinyl, one search for fabric, and then I will reach out to the winner. So just want to say, and again, welcome and thank you to my 20 plus subscribers. I went from 89 subscribers to, I think the last time I looked, I was at 120 or 113, somewhere around there. But hey, let's look right now, shall we? I'm at 115. So I went, I thought it was funny, I was at 90 when I posted my last Flosstube. And then about a couple days into it, after I had announced that when I get to 100, which are only 10 more, I would give away a bag, a project bag. Then I went to 89. And then I got a sweet shout out, and now I'm at 115. I couldn't be more grateful. I hope you guys find some value out of this and enjoy my silliness and my stitching as much as I enjoy watching all my other Flosstubers and looking at stitching and thinking about stitching and dreaming about what I'm going to sew together and giving my hand a rest and using my sewing machine instead from time to time. So I'm going to bid you a good evening. Adieu is what I was trying to say. And I will see you next time. I hope I see you again soon. All right, bye-bye.